Live from the 6th Street, Tarantotoy and Friends.
Parikoys and Marikoys, good day to you all and welcome to the Tarantotoy and Friends podcast. I hope you're all doing well today, and today is a very special day. Our friend today is someone whom I have known for 22 years. He attended Pareho Southern School for Boys with me during our grade school and high school days. He graduated from the University of the Philippines, Diliman, with a degree in business administration. Furthermore, he also took up Juris Doctor degree at the University of the Philippines College of Law at the University of the Philippines-Bonifacio Global City Campus. He is currently working at the Romulo, Mabanta, Buenaventura, Sayoc, and De Los Angeles law firm. Parikoys and Marikoys, Tarantotoy and Friends gives to you your honor, Attorney Isaac Tambunting. Before we get started, the Tarantotoy and Friends team wants to sincerely say thank you for making time for us despite your busy schedule at the court and adulting life. And without further ado, it's pod time! Hello, Isaac. Good day to you,
Hi, Paeng. Hi,
attorney.
all our viewers. To all your viewers,
Yes.
I'm very honored to be here in your podcast. Thank you very much for your very kind and generous introduction. Uh, I really appreciate the introduction. And yes, what Paeng said is true that we've known each other for 22 years. We were just small kids when we became friends. So
Yes.
how fast time flies, indeed.
Yes, attorney. And anyway, how are you doing today?
But I'm doing okay. I have been a lawyer for about 2 months,
Mm-hmm.
officially lawyer for about 2 months. After I signed the role of attorneys in May, and currently I'm working in a law firm.
Mm-hmm.
Been in the law firm for about a month or so. So I'm very happy to experience life as a young lawyer, because usually when you're a young lawyer, that's when you experience different kinds of law, different fields of practice. So I'm happy to be able to do this. Yeah. So I'm good. I'm good. I'm good.
That is a very good to hear, attorney. And of course, we of course want to congratulate you on passing the 2022 February Philippine bar exam, and of course this a new journey of yours in Philippine law. And of course, we are rooting for you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you.
And of course, to our Parikoys and Marikoys, our viewers, no, for some background context, what was your journey prior to entering the Philippine University of the Philippines Diliman Law School? So, can you share at least some of your early life and, of course, your undergrad? How was that experience, attorney?
Well, first, my journey, my life journey, of course, started when I was born. My parents, Gus and Joy Tambunting, and so and I entered the Para Southern School for Boys. Well,
Yes.
I became very good friends. I entered that school in 2000, so I spent my elementary and secondary years there, and I graduated from college in 2012. After 2012, I entered the University of the Philippines, uh, the Diliman campus.
Mm-hmm.
I took up a degree in business administration. Actually, the original degree, which I wanted to finish in UP, was business administration and accountancy.
Mm.
However, I didn't make the cut. I had to shift from business administration and accountancy to business administration when I was in third year college. Now, after that, so I was entering my fourth year of college and was about to finish a degree in business administration. However, on my part, I felt that I was not yet prepared or not yet equipped with all the professional and educational know-how I needed in order to enter the working world or the workforce. I felt I needed to take further studies,
Mm-hmm.
equip myself, and that's when I decided to apply for law school. I tried applying in at the time UP and Ateneo just to see if I would pass. I never really thought of becoming a lawyer, to be frank,
Mm-hmm.
until I was already in my fourth year of college. So
Okay.
so there. And then I applied in both UP and Ateneo. And sometime in 2020, I learned that I passed the UP entrance exam. So, not 2020, I'm sorry, 2016. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Sometime in 2016, I learned that I passed the UP law admission exam. And and during that time, the BGC campus was a very new school.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, we were the very first set of students to be given an opportunity to choose between UP Diliman and UPBGC. So I chose UPBGC because I was already a graduate or an about to be graduate of UP Diliman. I spent 4 years there. I felt was time for a new environment, and also since BGC is relatively new to us here in the south, in from Parañaque and Taguig are just practically beside each other. So I decided to go to UPBGC, and my block and I, we were the first students. We were the pioneer students of UPBGC and the first graduates of that campus. So I graduated from UPBGC in uh, 2020,
Yes.
and I also took the ball earlier this year. And of course, uh, going back to my mentioning about my dad and mom earlier, all the successes, whether it be my graduation and all my passing the bar exam, I couldn't have done it without their help, their love, and their support. So I really would like to express my gratitude to them for all the support they've given me for my elementary, high school, college, law school, because I wouldn't be able to go to all the challenges and all the rigors that come with becoming a lawyer if not through their support and help. So I really appreciate that. So
And attorney, for our viewers, just to clarify, is do you need a is there a such thing as a pre-law degree, like in you were saying in University of the Philippines is business administration like a pre-law course, or just to clarify for us, we're not really familiar, is that a requirement?
well, in the Philippines, yes, you need to have an undergraduate degree
Mm-hmm.
or you enter law school. In other countries, I think they do not require an undergraduate degree. But here in the Philippines, yes, you need a
Okay.
pre-law degree, an undergraduate degree to enter law school. However, you don't need a particular college degree.
Okay.
At least among my classmates and among people who take up law, you see them coming from a wide variety of fields of study. Some come from business, some come from legal management. There would be others who would come from econ backgrounds,
Mm-hmm.
others would come from science backgrounds. I know of other law students who would also be engineering students when they were college. So as long as you finish an undergraduate degree, that should be good.
That should be good.
But at least in the UP College of Law, and I think it might be the same also in other law schools, you're required to have taken certain units in English and social sciences
Okay.
um, when you were in undergrad. So as long as you meet that requirement of a certain number of units in those fields of study, they will admit you into law school.
Okay.
In fact, I had some classmates, they were lacking a few units in, I think, social sciences or English, because maybe the major in college didn't allow them to take those uh, subjects. What they did, even while we were in law school, they were taking some undergraduate
Mm.
courses, maybe 3 units or 6 units, just to comply with that requirement. So even if you do not meet those number of units when you are an undergraduate student, they will give you an opportunity to meet it while you're in law school.
In law school. Okay. Very, very interesting there. And of course, we also want to stress out the importance of the support system. And again, of course, to Sir Gus Tambunting and Ma'am Joy.
Yeah.
Again, we are very, very proud of you, attorney. And
Thank you, bro. Thank you.
when you were mentioning the latter years of your undergrad, before you decided to take up the law school, were there any factors or variables that you encountered or realized that made you decide to take up law school and to become a lawyer here in the Philippines?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, I didn't really think of entering law school until I was already maybe fourth year college, uh, when I was about to graduate. But of course, I think one of the big influences as well to me, on me, was the fact that my mom's dad, my late grandfather, Attorney Orlando Salvador, is
Mhm.
also a lawyer. So in the past, I would have many good conversations with him. He would talk about his law practice. He would talk about the work that he would do in certain cases. He would talk about the, let's say, the ups and downs
Yes.
of being a lawyer. So I was quite inspired by those stories as well, which made me quite interested in life as a lawyer. And ever since I was young,
Mhm.
even, I'm sure you've known me since we were small kids.
Yes.
I would always find fascinating any legal proceedings I would see online, whether it be, for example, the deliberations in Congress or the impeachment trial that you would watch on TV, which are all legal proceedings, which are all proceedings having to do with lawmaking or uh, trying a case. They always interested me. So I think even at a young age, I already had a disposition to take up law.
All right. Very, and at least you were able to follow up on those earlier, experiences and to eventually end up in law school, no?
Yeah.
And then of course, let's see the Isaac as a law school student at the pre-pandemic stage, and then of course, as you mentioned, you had a semester at the UP BGC campus during the start and height of the COVID-19 global pandemic. Can you share us your experiences in terms of what were the initial challenges you faced in pre-pandemic law school and in pandemic law school, and of course some of the stereotypes that we would have as the general public, the scary recitations with the index cards, usually at the coffee shop, sleepless days and nights. As a law student, are these all true? And we want to hear your experience on that, attorney.
Well, most of the stereotypes, as you mentioned, most of the stereotypes, which law students and law school is known for, I think they are true. You really have to give a lot of time to studying, to reading your cases, reading the books, trying to memorize the law. Yeah. As they say, there is a quote, a famous quote in the legal field, which I also heard from one of my profs when I was in law school, that law is a jealous mistress in the
Mm.
sense that it will take a lot of time. It will really take a lot of devotion from your end. You will really have to give uh, your energy, the effort, diligence, everything. Especially for at the start when you're still adjusting. In our first year of law school, there were many challenges.
Mm.
The first year of law school, I think most or if many law students would agree with me, would be a very challenging time because that's the time that you are still learning the ropes of how things are done in law school. You are experiencing how much it will demand of you, how much time you have to give. And like what you said, the stereotypes of uh, law students or how law school is usually true. You have to give time to studying many times until late at night. Some students would wake up early in the morning to start studying. I would have some study groups with my friends in coffee shops, in different restaurants, in different places, the BGC area, which was where we were studying. Um, I also experienced,
Mm.
like I'm sure most law students experience, uh, the difficulties in class when it comes to recitation. Some profs would uh, scold you. Some may even send you out of the classroom if you don't get the correct answer or if you don't meet the standards, which, um, of course, at the time that we were experiencing uh, that kind of education, it was very challenging. It was very difficult for us because um, it was the first time because that we experienced that. Because usually in undergrad, rarely would you have profs who would have that kind of high standard.
Yes. Yes.
But, looking back on it, I do believe and I see that our professors did have our best interest in mind because they wanted to impress upon us that you have to put a lot of effort, you have to be on your best as a law student and as a future lawyer. Because during those days, the worst thing that could happen to you is you would get a failing grade, you would be sent out of the classroom, etc. But if you make a mistake or if you uh, quote unquote lax up as a lawyer, the one that might suffer is your client. It's
Yes.
not more you who will have to pay for it. It might be if you have a client in prison, baka hindi siya makalaya.
Yes.
You don't really put in your best effort. So looking back, even though law school was generally tough, I do think um, all of us, or most of us at least, would be uh, very happy and satisfied that we were able to survive that journey because in the long run, for sure, it made us better people and hopefully also better lawyers.
Yes. And in terms of that attorney, for us no, who were interested in this, when you say that the question and answer during classes, what part of it does it make it hard? The the amount of cases, your response, or is it the sudden call? What because we hear that sometimes the general public, no, and we're just interested to know what makes it a bit challenging, like on when you're answering in class.
Well, of course, as mentioned earlier, as you mentioned, sometimes you would be called suddenly.
Mm-hmm.
Different professors would have different styles of asking questions for recitation. Some would have an index card, uh, a batch of index cards, and then they would shuffle,
Mm-hmm.
pick randomly. Uh, Other professors would have assigned, quote unquote, assigned recitation, that this person will be in charge of
Okay.
this person will be in charge of this. So at least you can expect that the student should be prepared, or that's the ideal. The student should be prepared because he was assigned that part of the recitation. Uh, some teachers, on the other hand, would call many students in a particular session. So you would have many opportunities to answer, and the burden of carrying the class forward wouldn't be on just one particular student.
Okay.
On the other hand, some professors, for one whole session of about 1 or 2 hours, only one student will be the one to recite. So it boils down because the method in law school, as a background for those who
Yes.
haven't experienced law school, it's called the Socratic method.
Mm-hmm.
Socratic method. In undergrad and in most of our life as students, what the method that we are used to is usually the lecture method, or if other teachers would have different methods. The teacher is the one teaching the students the lesson.
Yes.
In law school, it's more of the class would be assigned a certain coverage.
Okay.
Everyone in the class is expected to read that coverage and study that coverage. And when you go to class, the teacher will be the one to ask you questions on those for that particular coverage. So it's more of a self-learning way of
Okay.
study. Of course, most professors, they would really be providing input as you go along. So they would also lecture, they would explain certain concepts as you go along the Socratic method. But on the other hand, there would be some teachers who would not lecture at all. Like their role would really just be asking questions, asking questions, asking questions. And it's up to the students to answer, to provide answers for those questions. So that's how law schools or law class in general is conducted. The students are expected to study on their own, and it is during the class, through the recitation, that the teacher would test the students.
Okay.
They would ask questions by asking questions, and at the same time also providing some lectures, some inputs about the topic.
Attorney, this when you say that, let's say that the 1 hour, 2 hours recitation, no, is it open book? I mean, for us who's, again, who just undergrad, or for me masters, but not this type, no, in marketing and media. Do you need to memorize the the law, and when you get called, there's no book, or can you, can you have some notes with you, or when you're called upon, you should be expected to know all of this, and at least, and remember and memorize the
Well,
law?
it would depend on the teacher.
Okay.
Well, some teachers would prefer, at least in our time, nothing on your table,
Oh, okay.
no notes, anything. So you have to be able to recite what you studied from memory.
Mm-hmm.
Others would allow open book, sometimes even open gadgets. Uh, while some would allow, call this, notes, but handwritten. So
Okay.
you have to prepare your notes handwritten. So the professor wants to make sure that you are really putting in the effort to study uh, these concepts and the various legal professions on your own without having to rely on notes given by someone else.
Okay.
You know,
Mm.
I never experienced it, but from what I hear from those who are still in law school now, sometime recitation would be because would be conducted blindfolded. So
Blindfold. Like,
blindfolded, yes, like that. They put something on your so, your eyes. some professors would require that to make sure you're not reading, because right now,
Mhm.
given the online setup, it's quite easy to have a
Ah,
piece of
yes.
document of your notes on your laptop. But some professors, they to just make sure that the students are really studying and not relying on notes, etc. They would require you, while you're reciting, to put on a blindfold so you cannot look at your
Yes.
laptop or anything. So yeah, that's the tough part of law school. Really, you have to really be able to absorb a good amount of information, so much information indeed, in a short span of time. Yeah, you have to absorb. Sometimes you would only have a day, a few hours to prepare for your law class, and then you would have to recite. But that's the experience, and I think I can speak for many law school graduates and present day lawyers that even though it was difficult when you were going through it, that it makes you a better person in the long run.
Yes.
Yeah.
And in terms of that, attorney, in the when you were discussing about the blindfold, no, you shared with us that you experienced at least one semester online. Was there a difference between the physical learning in pre-pandemic and then during that the start and the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, no, the online setup? Did you see any pros and cons with regards to that type of learning?
Well, to be honest, our last semester in law school was conducted online.
Okay.
But the thing about that particular situation is that during that time, I'm sure everyone remembers it, that classes and work was canceled sometime in March
Yes.
2020. During that time, barely anyone was using online platforms like Zoom, Google Meet, Microsoft Teams, etc. People really didn't know how these things could be used for classes and education. So it took a bit of getting used to.
Mm.
During our time, our classes were cut sometime in March 2020, and I think it took about a month or so for them to be resumed via online. But given the situation, the College of Law in UP gave leeway to the professors on how to conduct classes. Of course, you couldn't expect everyone to have very good internet
Yes.
connection, would enable everyone to do Zoom or Google Meet. So depending on the situation, we were allowed to adapt. So I had at least maybe one or two classes which conducted class via Zoom, but, but some others like would conduct class via Viber, Viber, while others would conduct class or ask for requirements. Just you have to write a paper or submit an output, and that's it.
Mhm.
Or online lectures, etc. And I think this kind of adaptability was very important during that time.
Yes.
That it's good that the law school gave the professors leeway to adapt whatever way they felt was best in order to meet the needs of the students, because it's difficult if you expect everyone to be on Zoom. Some people would might be in the provinces, some people might
Yes.
have that connection. You can't expect everyone to be on Zoom, especially at the beginning of the pandemic where everyone was still I guess in a state of shock
Yes.
and
Yes.
adjustment of how life was going to be. So it was a good experience. I mean, I think I still learned a good amount of uh, coverage, and I still learned a lot during that sem in which the we were hit by the pandemic. And I'm happy also that right now we are able to adapt systems to try to mix a bit of online, a bit of face to face to see what's the best for both teachers and students.
Yes. And in terms of your classmates during this time, were you able to forge close friendships, and of course lifelong, hopefully, uh, as as like how do you say, like a unit, going through, is it a block, just to confirm, law school, when you start first year to fourth year, or until when you graduate, are you with the same people?
Yes, more
Yes.
or less, we started UP Law as a block.
Okay.
So our block is known as UPBGC
Mm-hmm.
Day 2020 because we graduated in 2020.
Okay.
So right now, I would say that these classmates of mine have grown actually from strangers. Of course, we were strangers when we entered law school, but now
Yes.
they are more like family.
Yes, of course.
My blockmates, I see them as family because we went through a lot of challenges together. The challenges that come with law school, you really need to count on each other and get each other's support and help because I don't think anyone can really do it alone. You need the friendship of your classmates, of your blockmates. And in spite of all the difficulties and challenges we faced in law school, uh, we were able to make it. We were able to make it. Thanks be to God, most of my block finished law school, and most of us are now lawyers. And I cherish very much the lifelong, hopefully lifelong friendships I've had with my blockmates. Many of them are now practicing in the legal field as well. And I also appreciate all the help and support they've given me. Definitely, I wouldn't have finished law school and I wouldn't be a lawyer now if not for the friendship, help, and support that all my blockmates gave me. So if any of my blockmates are watching this podcast, I'd like to say thank you to you for all the help that and the friendship that you've extended to me during our time in law school because definitely all of us needed each other's support. Not only when it comes to the academic side, but more of a friends to help each other in times of sometimes crisis, sometimes difficulty. I think everyone would go through a phase where you would think this law school still worth it? Should we still continue this journey even if it's so difficult? And it's through the kindness and the friendship of my blockmates, the support they would give, the emotional support, person to talk to when you're feeling down. Uh, all of this really helped me a lot, and I truly appreciate all the kindness which my blockmates have extended to me.
That's very very good to hear, attorney. At least part of the journey is again with these people, and it's very good to hear, and to hear that they most of them are already have a successful bar exam, and of course officially attorneys nowadays, and in their law firms, I hope. Attorney,
Yes.
was there ever a time in law school that you were at the edge, uh, you know, reflecting whether to continue this journey? Because you just mentioned, again, they help you a lot, but was there ever a time, at least, and I'm guessing some of the law school students are going through it, or had gone through this question of yours. Was there ever a time that you were on the edge?
Yeah, I think there would be several times that that would happen to me.
Yes. And how were you able to overcome this obstacle, if you want to say?
Well, the obstacles really sometimes they would come in the form of recitation. Uh, you would have a bad recitation. You're not able to answer properly. Sometimes the prof would scold you a bit. Sometimes the prof would uh, reprimand you a bit. And of course, um, sometimes it would well only people uh,
Yes.
we we get affected sometimes by uh, reprimands, by a bit of the scolding. So of course, at those points in my life, in my law school journey, I would feel a bit down. I would ask myself, is law school really worth it? Maybe law school is not really for me. Uh, I'm sure many of my classmates and fellow law students during the time would feel the same way
Mm-hmm.
because yeah, we're only
Human.
human. Yeah, we're only human and we experience all these emotions as well.
Yes.
But thanks be to God, to the support of my family, my classmates, to their encouragement really. Um, I was able to overcome these difficulties, these roadblocks.
Yes.
Because oftentimes, sometimes it's not even the intellectual capacity anymore that can hinder your success in law school. It's also your emotional, psychological strength that you
Mm-hmm.
need really to drive on, to push forward. That in the midst of all the difficulties and challenges and hardships that you may experience, you have to keep going.
Okay.
Kailangan you have to have that attitude.
Mm.
Laban lang,
Laban lang, tuloy lang,
kaya,
gano'n.
tuloy lang, kahit anong mangyari, kaya natin yan. You have to really have that uh, driving attitude to overcome all the obstacles which may be thrown your way. And definitely, I'm sure no one will go to law school without experiencing those kinds of obstacles and roadblocks.
Yes.
So definitely, it was a worthwhile journey in spite of the fact na you have to experience a good number of roadblocks and hurdles that you have to pick yourself up again and again. Like in anything, I guess, in
Of
life,
course.
you have to keep picking yourself up again and again for you to reach your goals.
And then thank you for that, attorney, for that sharing. No, uh, in terms of the reviewing for the last February 2022 Philippine bar examination and taking the Philippine bar examination last February, what's the difference between law school and the preparation and the the experience of taking the bar exam? How was that? Or like what the study methods, reviewing you've done, and again the preparation for the bar exam.
Okay. The main difference, at least in my mind, with law school studying and bar review studying would be in law school studying, you are usually studying for recitation, for the class, for the nearest class which is coming. For bar review studying, you are studying more on a long-term basis.
Mm,
You are studying for a period of 6, 7, 8 months, depending on how long your bar review will be. So, looking back, law school studying is geared really to understanding as much as you can the coverage for that particular class, which is I say will be in the next few hours or tomorrow. You have to really gamay mo dapat yung coverage for
mm,
that particular class. On the other hand, bar review studying, there's no more, you won't anymore have recitation. Wala nang recitation, wala nang upcoming class that you have to really worry about. It's really the understanding of the fundamental principles of the law, which are included, of course, in the bar coverage, which you need to understand and study well. So more, in my mind, more long-term ang aral for the bar review. And for the bar review also, you do not need, you don't really have to think of a, a professor giving a test, let's say in the next 3 weeks, 2, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. It's really more of a long-term view that
Okay.
for about 6 months, you have to really cover all the bar subjects and prepare yourself for the bar exam.
Attorney, when you said earlier that there is the bar coverage, does the Philippine how do you say the committee, the who those who administer the exam,
Yes.
uh do they give you the list of what more or less will show up at the bar exam,
Yes.
subjects or whatever you want to call?
Yes, yes. So the bar exam, for those who, uh, for the benefit of all our viewers,
Yes, thank you.
uh, for the longest time, the bar exam has been composed of 8 subjects. So we have political law, labor law, and we also have civil law and commercial law. And then we have criminal law, and there's also taxation, uh, and legal ethics.
Mm.
I think I'm missing one. Taxation, again, we have political law, uh, taxation, labor, criminal law, commercial law, civil law, uh, legal ethics, and practical exercises.
Practical exercise.
Yeah. But I think I think legal ethics and practical exercises might be merged in
uh,
one subject, supposedly. Then
your professors are watching from
yeah,
UP.
get it
Just
going.
joking, attorney.
Getting
It's
to the
okay.
mem-
You
I'm just
already.
kidding. Yeah.
It's okay.
Maybe example the 8 subject
Mm.
anymore. Well,
Mm.
anyway, so those subjects,
Okay.
well, subjects usually would have their own test. I forgot remedial law.
Remedial law.
Last
Okay.
one. Kasi they were-
Pass na yan. You pass recitation today.
yeah.
Tarantotoy and friends.
So traditionally, the
Mhm.
last 2 exams would be remedial law, and then legal ethics and practical exercises would be one subject. So
Okay.
so eight bar subjects. Now, usually the Supreme Court, the bar examiner, the chairperson of the committee uh, administering the bar exam is a justice of the Supreme Court.
Okay.
Usually, they would really give a coverage for those 8 bar subjects. Now, this coverage would be given months
Mm.
beforehand to give the examinees time to prepare. And then, but then, of course, during our time, many adjustments had to be made because we were going to take the bar exam during a time of a pandemic. Remember, I graduated March 2020.
Yes.
However, uh, and if there was no pandemic, if all things were as normal, November 2020 would be the date or the month on which I would have taken the bar exam. However, because of the pandemic, it had to be moved several times.
Okay.
So November 2020. There was word it would be in early 2021. Then they said November 2021. And then they moved it to around some for several days in January, until they decided that we would just have it on 2 days in February. So instead of the usual fall Sundays, which the bar exam would usually be on, the Supreme Court decided to have it on a Friday and a Sunday, February 4 and February 6. And they had to compress the subjects. Usually, uh, it would be 8 subjects, 2 subjects for each Sunday over
Yes.
a course of 4 Sundays. But now they had to compress it on 2 days. And they had to also make a shorter coverage. The Supreme Court came out with a shorter coverage, uh, more, I would say, streamlined coverage of really the basic concepts of law. Because I'm sure that the Supreme Court, I would have to give thanks and appreciation also to the Supreme Court led by the Paul chairperson during our term. It was Justice Leonen. He really made an effort to allow the bar examinees to focus on the very basic and fundamental concepts of law, especially given the circumstances we were in. And we really appreciate that understanding and for giving us the ability and the space to focus on the fundamental principles of law. So they really came out with a shorter coverage for our 2 day bar exam. And the questions, as would be attested by all, most, if not all, the bar examinees, were uh, basic questions, which allowed us to really focus on the principles of law which any first year lawyer should know. So, and I would like to also thank the Supreme Court and Justice Yonen for the effort that they gave in making this bar exam very accessible to all the examinees. Just for context,
Yes.
before the bar exam, which we took in Feb of 2022, for the longest time, all the examinees from all over the Philippines would have to go to Manila to take the bar exam. It would be handwritten, and you would have to wait about 6 months before getting the results. Last February 2022, it was the first time ever in Philippine history you had the bar exam all over the country in testing sites from Luzon to Mindanao. And it was all done via computer. You would
Okay.
answer the bar exam on your computer, and the checking was also computerized. So in about 2 months, the results were out. And I think this is really an extraordinary feat and accomplishment on the part of the Supreme Court, and they should really be congratulated for that.
And that's very interesting to hear, attorney, considering that the previous bar examinations were handwritten. So I guess in computer typing, if you want to say, it's faster for you maybe to answer your questions examination, no, and at least nobody will fail anymore due to if ever there are, I'm not sure if people have failed before because of bad handwriting, but at least now with the technological advancements, we're able to address these issues. And of course, what you said, faster results of the 2022 Philippine bar examinations.
Yes, yes, definitely, definitely. Some people, I think, would really not make it because of handwriting. Actually, this computerization of the bar exams was a blessing for me because my handwriting is very
Yeah.
so my handwriting is very bad. And you can imagine the pressure on the part of the examiners. These examiners have to check thousands of
Mm.
questions, have to check thousands of answers to the questions. So they don't really have the luxury of time to decipher your handwriting. So it was really a blessing for
Yes.
me. I think many bar examinees that this year's bar exam, which was held in February 2022, was typewritten, was fully computerized. So at least the handwriting issue would be taken out of the picture.
I think that's very interesting to hear, attorney. Considering that if that it was a success, that would also mean that the infrastructures were provided, I guess, by the Philippine Supreme Court, of course, especially like let's say our internet, considering you were discussing and computers for you examinees, no. And of course the venue, the health protocols that were in place, and very very successful event, no.
Yeah.
Now that you're officially attorney Isaac, what was the feeling when you realized that you passed the Philippine bar exam last February 2022?
It was a feeling of joy
Yes.
and happiness. I was very happy that uh, God blessed me with this privilege, this grace of passing the bar exams and becoming a lawyer. Actually, when we found out that I passed the bar exams, I was with my family,
Okay.
my dad, my mom, my siblings. It happened that we were all together that morning, and we all got a bit emotional. I saw
Yes.
we were all happy. My mom teared up a bit. She cried a bit out of joy. And my mom's name is also Joy. So
Yes.
she was very joyful.
Tears of joy.
She was shedding tears of joy when she heard that I passed uh, the bar examinations. And also on my part,
Yes.
seeing her crying, I also cried a bit and was very happy,
Yes.
very happy that long last all the difficulties which I went through and my family went through and my friends went through during our law school years finally bore fruit. We
Yes.
saw the results of all the hard work that we put in during our law school days and while we were studying in law school and also while we were studying for the bar examination. And I can't thank anyone. I mean, I can't thank God, my family, and my friends enough. Like I'm very very grateful for all the support, all the prayers, all the kindness that they showed me while I was um, studying for the bar exam, and even before I was studying for the bar exam, because definitely I couldn't have done it without uh, all of them, and that also includes you, of course, Paeng,
Okay. Thank you.
and Tita Tony and Tita Rose, because I know you guys will really praying for me also, and
Yes.
I really appreciate all the prayers, your prayers, and all the support and the prayers which all the friends and family close to me have gave me while I was preparing for the bar exam. So thank you.
Yes. Again, once again, congratulations, attorney.
Salamat. Thank
Yes.
you.
And given all the years that you have experienced and learned in your law school journey, taking the 2022 February Philippine bar examinations, and now working in a law firm, what advices can you give to those who are thinking of taking up law school, those who are currently in law school right now, those who dropped out of law school but are still dreaming to becoming a lawyer one day, hence going back to law school, and those who are currently preparing for the next Philippine bar examinations? What advice can you give us them?
Okay. So for those about to enter law school, I would say there's that law school is worth it. Law school is worth it. I mean, if it's still your passion, If being a lawyer is something you really see yourself doing, go for it. Go for your dreams. I would have to say though that based on the experiences of some of my friends, um, entering law school, of course, um, not everyone who enters law school would finish. Uh,
Okay.
But that just comes to show that being a lawyer, like any profession out there, whether it be medicine, whether it be engineering, etc., entering any profession is not for everyone. It's not for everyone, that's for sure. But for those who have dreams of becoming a lawyer, I would highly recommend and highly encourage you to go for your dreams. To go for your dreams. Whether you are just about to enter law school or currently in law school, but go for your dreams. The journey is worth it. You will experience the fruits and the happiness of your struggles when you finish law school and when you become a lawyer. I would have to say that, like any other lawyer now, we wouldn't be the lawyers we are now if we didn't go through the struggles, the difficulties, and the hardships we went through in law school. So, for those who are having difficulty as a law student, and for those who are doubting if they want to be a lawyer, all I can say is that the journey is worth it. It is worthwhile. It is a worthwhile journey, which even though you may be struggling right now, even though it might be difficult right now, what's important is laban lang, go lang, kaya yan. There are many people who were struggling in law school, but eventually became successful lawyers in their career. On the other hand, there are many people who did very well in law school, but when they became a lawyer, they felt that the work of a lawyer is not really for them. So
Mm.
kanya-kanya yan. That's to each his own. To each his own. Each person has to undergo their own journey.
Yes.
But I would highly encourage all those who want to be a lawyer to always, as they say, as one book would say, begin with the end in mind. Begin with the end in mind. What you are doing now, you are doing for purpose, for a goal that you want to achieve. So even if it will demand a lot of you, always think of your goal, of your dream, of what you want to do when you are a lawyer already. Each person has their own journey in practicing law. Some would want to be a lawyer to serve in the government. Some would want to be a lawyer to be a lawyer for people who cannot afford to be a lawyer, for indigent clients. They would work in NGOs or in the public attorney's office because they really want to serve the poor and those in our society who need a lawyer but unfortunately can't afford. Others want to work for big law firms. They want to assist in big transactions. They want to work on big cases. While others would want to use their law degree for them to go abroad, to work abroad in maybe a company, a multinational company abroad, or in a law firm abroad. So each person definitely would have their own goals. So that's my advice. Know what your goals are, know what you want to achieve in the future, and realize that no matter what your goal may be in the future, your law studies now, difficult as it may be, as they may be, will help you achieve your goal. So, as I said, it's worthwhile. Begin with the end in mind and go for your dreams.
Thank you for those inspirational and emotional words, attorney. Of course, definitely here at Tarantotoy and Friends. We're here to hopefully, of course, help people out, and of course give them the insight, and of course through our guests that it helps them in their journey as well. um would you like to share your social media accounts and personal shout outs, if any, with your let's say your law firm, or if you, of course, you want to promote your law office?
Yes, my social media, my Facebook account is Isaac Tambunting. Uh, for my law office,
Yes.
I'm as mentioned earlier by Pang, I'm currently uh, working and associated with uh, Romulo Law, and we have a website, romulo.com, for any inquiries about the law, about certain transactions which might need legal advice. You may contact us to our website, romulo.com.
Yes, and we will display this in the video description below for those Paracoys and Maricoys who are in need of legal advice. Our attorney is here. So there you go. I hope our Paricoys and Maricoys learned something today with regards to the highs and lows of law school journey, the preparations for the Philippine bar examinations, and the fruits of your labor later on in terms of one's determination to succeed, and the importance of believing in yourself and the support system of your educational institution, family, classmates, and friends, and of course, our Lord Jesus, who will eventually lead you to achieving your goals and dreams in life. So, on behalf of the Toronto and Friends team, Attorney Isaac, I apologize. We wish you all the best in your endeavor, and may you fight for the truth and justice for the Filipino people. We are very proud of you.
Thank you so much, Pang. Thank you to all the viewers of the podcast, and thank you also to everyone behind Tarantotoy and Friends. I really appreciate this invitation and the opportunity to share my journey with all of you. Thank you,
Thank
Pang.
you. Thank you. I hope you all enjoyed this episode. Of course, if you want to keep updated for our podcast, we would greatly appreciate it if you could like, share, and subscribe to our Tarantoto and Friends social media accounts. Until the next episode, stay safe and please take care always wherever you are in this world. May you have a lovely day ahead and peace out.
Live from the 6th Street, Tarantotoy and Friends.